Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Reading from Nectar of Instruction, Upadeshamrita, text number 10, text number 8, right? Tannama Rupa Charitadi Sankirtananu.
Tannama Rupa Charitadi Sukirtananu.
Tannama Rupa Charitadi Sukirtananu.
Tannama Rupa Charitadi Sukirtananu.
Smrityo Kramena Arasana Manisi Aniyojya.
Smrityo Kramena Rasana Manasi Niyojya.
Smrityo Kramena Rasana Manasi Niyojya.
Smrityo Kramena Rasana Manasi Niyojya.
Tishtan Rajetad Anuragi Jananugami.
Tishtan Rajetad Anuragi Jananugami.
Tishtan Rajetad Anuragi Jananugami.
Tishtan Rajetad Anuragi Jananugami.
Kalam Naedakilam Iti Upadeshasaram.
Kalam Nayed Akilam Iti Upadeshasaram.
Kalam Naedakilam Iti Upadeshasaram.
Kalam Nayed Akilam Iti Upadeshasaram.
Tannamarupa Charitadi Sukirtananu.
Tannamarupa Charitadi Sukirtananu.
Smrityoho Kramena Rasana Manasi Niyojya.
Smrityo Kramena Rasana Manasi Niyojya.
Tishtan Rajetad Anuragi Jananugami.
Tishtan Rajetad Anuragi Jananugami.
Kalam Naedakilam Iti Upadeshasaram.
Kalam Nayed Akilam Iti Upadeshasaram. Tannamarupa Charitadi Sukirtinanu.
Tannamarupa Charitadi Sukirtinanu.
Smrityo Kramena Rasana Manasi Niyojya.
Smrityoho Kramena Rasana Manasi Niyojya.
Tishtan Rajetad Anuragi Jananugami.
Tishtan Rajetad Anuragi Jananugami.
Kalam Nayed Akilam Iti Upadeshasaram.
Kalam Naedakilam Iti Upadeshasaram. Tad of Lord Krishna.
Of Lord Krishna.
Nama, the holy name.
The holy name.
Rupa,
Rupa.
form.
Form.
Charitadi,
Klomum. Charitadi.
character.
Character.
Character, pastimes, and so on.
Character, pastimes, and so on.
Sukirtana,
Sukirtana.
in discussing or chanting nicely.
In discussing or chanting nicely.
Anusmrityoho,
Anusmrityo.
and in remembering.
And in remembering.
Kramena,
Kramena.
gradually.
Gradually.
Rasana,
Rasana.
the tongue.
The tongue.
Manasi,
Manasi.
and one's mind.
And one's mind.
Niyojya,
Niyojya.
engaging.
Engaging.
Tishtan,
Tishtan.
residing.
Residing.
Vraje,
Vraje,
in Vraja,
in Vraja,
Tat,
Tat,
to Lord Krishna.
to Lord Krishna.
Anuragi,
Anuragi,
attached.
attached.
Jana,
Jana,
persons.
persons.
Anugami,
Anugami,
following.
following.
Kalam,
Kalam,
time.
time.
Nayet,
Naye,
should utilize.
should utilize.
Akilam,
Akilam,
full.
full.
Iti,
Iti,
thus.
thus.
Upadesha,
Upadesha,
of advice or instruction.
of advice or instruction.
Saram,
Saram,
the essence.
the essence.
Translation. The essence of all advice is that one should utilize one's full time 24 hours a day in nicely chanting and remembering the Lord's divine name, transcendental form, qualities, and eternal pastimes, thereby gradually engaging one's tongue and mind. In this way, one should reside in Raja, Goloka Vrindavan Dham, and serve Krishna under the guidance of devotees. One should follow in the footsteps of the Lord's beloved devotees who are deeply attached to his devotional service. Repeat. The essence of all advice
The essence of all advice
is that one should utilize one's full time,
one's full time,
24 hours a day,
24 hours a day,
in nicely chanting
nicely chanting
and remembering
and remembering
the Lord's divine name,
the Lord's divine name,
transcendental form, qualities, and eternal pastimes,
qualities and eternal pastimes,
thereby gradually engaging one's tongue and mind.
one's tongue and mind.
In this way, one should reside
In this way, one should reside
in Vraja,
in Vraja,
Goloka Vrindavan Dham,
Goloka Vrindavan Dham,
and serve Krishna under
and serve Krishna under
the guidance of devotees.
the guidance of devotees.
One should follow in the footsteps
One should follow in the footsteps
of the Lord's beloved devotees
of the Lord's beloved devotees
who are deeply attached
to
to his devotional service.
his devotional service.
Since the mind may be one's enemy or one's friend, one has to train the mind to become his friend. The Krishna consciousness movement is especially meant for training the mind to be always engaged in Krishna's business. The mind contains hundreds and thousands of impressions, not only of this life, but also of many, many lives of the past. These impressions sometimes come in contact with one another and produce contradictory pictures. In this way, the mind's function can become dangerous for a conditioned soul. Students of psychology are aware of the mind's various psychological changes. In the Bhagavad Gita 8.6 it is said, Yam yam vapi smaran bhavam Tyajanti ante kalevaram tam evaiti kaunteya sada tadbhava bhavitaha. Whatever state of mind one remembers when he quits his body, O son of Kunti, that state he will attain without fail. You want to read now? Or you read?
At the time of death, the mind and intelligence of a living entity create the subtle form of a certain type of body for the next life. If the mind suddenly thinks of something not very congenial, correct?
Congenial.
Congenial, one has to take a corresponding birth in the next life. On the other hand, if one can think of Krishna at the time of death, he can be transferred to the spiritual world, Goloka Vrindavan. This process of transmigration is very subtle. Therefore, Srila Rupa Goswami advises devotees to train their minds in order that they will be unable to remember anything other than Krishna. Similarly, the tongue should be trained to speak only of Krishna and to taste only Krishna Prasadam. Srila Rupa Goswami further advises, Tistan Vraje, one should live in Vrindavan or any part of Vrajabhumi. Vrajabhumi or the land of Vrindavan is supposed to be 84 kroshas in area. 1 krosha equals to 2 square miles. When one makes Vrindavan his residence, he should take shelter of advanced devotee there. In this way, one should always think of Krishna and his pastimes. This is further elucidated by Srila Rupa Goswami in his Upadeshamrita.
1.2.294 Krishnam smaran janam chasya preshtam nija samhitam tattad katharatas chaso kuryat vasam vrajes sada. A devotee should always reside in the transcendental realm of Vraja and engage in Krishnam Smaran Janam Chasya Preshtam, the remembrance of Krishna and his beloved associates. By following in the footsteps of such associates and by entering under their eternal guidance, one can acquire an intense desire to serve the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Again, Srila Rupa Goswami states in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu 1.2.295, Seva sadhaka rupena siddha rupena chatrahi tadbhava lipsuna karya vrajalokanus anusarata. In the transcendental realm of Vrajadham, one should serve the Supreme Lord Sri Krishna with a feeling similar to that of his associates, and one should place himself under the direct guidance of a particular associate of Krishna and should follow in his footsteps. This method is applicable both in the stage of sadhana, spiritual practices executed while in the stage of bondage, and in the stage of sadhya, God realization, when one is a siddha purusha, or a spiritually a perfect soul. So here, in this verse, Rupa Goswami is saying that how one should utilize one's full time, actually 24 hours a day, in thinking about the Lord, thinking about Krishna's name, chanting Krishna's names, thinking about Krishna's form, qualities, his pastimes. So it is 24 hours a day. So somebody may ask that why it is advised that way. Because our experience in this world, in this material world, is that we actually have our own needs to fulfill. We have to eat, we have to sleep, family, sex, and sex life or whatever. You have to work, have job, have to take care of so many things, so many this and that. So why the injunction is there that one should actually do this to 24 hours a day? How is that possible? But that shows that is the actual quality of the soul. Originally the soul is of that kind. Originally in spiritual world, all the souls are actually of that type. Here the problem is that connection with Krishna is lost. That is a problem here. Here we have a separate interest. There the souls in the spiritual world don't have any separate interest than what Krishna's interest is. They are completely fit or merged. That is actually what is the meaning of being merged in Krishna is actually. But people, the Mayavadis, have interpreted to mean that you don't exist. That the individuality of the soul is lost. But that is not true, because the soul is the spirit. It cannot be anytime be lost. Matter Madhvacharya, he explained that matter and matter can merge, but spirit and spirit cannot merge. Soul and soul cannot merge. So people think that Vedanta only Adi Shankaracharya explained. No, Madhvacharya, Ramanuja, Charya, all of them actually they explain. So he said that for example, if you have a gold chain, you can melt the gold chain and put back. You can put back in the gold ore. The gold actually comes from the earth, where they find the ore, the ore, and then they purify it, and then they take the gold out of it, and then they make jewelry and ornaments out of it, and so on they do. So you can melt the gold chain, put back into the big gold mine, you can do that. But soul and soul can't be merged. Like the son comes out of the father, you cannot merge back the son into the father. No, you cannot do that. So that is the thing. So here the devotee, the soul in its actual spiritual form is fully engaged. The connection with Krishna is 100%. It is tightly done. So there is no thinking of separate. Oh, I have to do my this thing. I have to do my my laundry or my bathing or my eating. It is all linked with Krishna. So, but here the situation in the material world is not like that. That connection has been lost for anadi. Anadi kala for the time which is you can't even know how many millions of years we have lost that connection. So that feels very like foreign to us actually. So the injunction of the Shastra is that one should utilize one's full time in doing these activities. So here, like it says, 24 hours a day, nicely chanting and remembering the Lord Krishna's divine name, transcendental form, qualities, and his pastimes also. People, the mind actually wants so many new things. It's the mind, material mind, even the spiritual mind also. This is not happy with just one thing. It wants always new things. Like you can see that people, they see this one. Some people are addicted to films, or they are so much hooked to movies. They see one movie, then they see another one. They see then after another one, because variety is a very important. They say variety is the spice of life. There's an English saying like this: variety is the spice of life, because the mind needs variety. So the nature of the soul, as Vedanta Sutra says, is Anandmay. Anandmay Bhyasat. Anandmay Bhyasat means it is always full of bliss and happiness. And so Krishna's pastimes are infinite actually. His qualities are infinite. His pastimes are also infinite. Like even the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu says that Krishna's incarnations are like waves in an ocean. There are infinite incarnations. We know only some of them. So when he has so many incarnations or expansions, then the pastimes are also infinite. In one incarnation he'll do something, next incarnation do something, then incarnation. And also it is explained that when Krishna comes in his scheduled incarnations, like Rama, then and Narasimha, Matsya, and all that, in one kalpa, I mean, the pastimes of the same avatar, Matsya avatar, in one kalpa is not exactly the same. Little bit change will be there, some changes. So when the soul actually goes on hearing all these things, then it's not tired of hearing. It's not satiated at all. Means it's not like attacking. Oh, it was enough, because everything new. He feels everything new is coming. So it's never. It's always expanding. So Anandambudhi Vardhanam. So, but for us actually the problem is, as the previous verse said, that jaundice condition one feels that sugar candy is not sweet. That is the problem which the conditioned soul actually faces, because the disease condition is there. So we are thinking, oh, it's not sweet, there's no taste, isn't that? Because as the conditioned soul has no higher taste. That is the problem. It is been accustomed to lower taste for so long, for millions and millions of births, that it needs some training even to get a higher taste. But when we come to devotional service, even in this Kali Yuga, Lord Chaitanya's movement is there. So you can see that sometimes when you dance, when you, kirtan goes on, you get that ecstasy which you don't find many times. But as you go to Mayapur Parikrama, you go like I went, and so much ecstasy that you don't find that. So it said that Krishna, even in the initial stages of devotional service, actually sometimes he gives you taste so that you know that what lies in store for you ahead. If you do devotional service, this thing will go on continuously. So he gives a small taste. Then you have to work for that to get back the taste. Just like Dhruva Maharaj, 6 months he meditated, and suddenly the Lord appeared in front of him. Then after he went away. Then he had to do the everything, So that was only a small taste he got. Then Krishna, then he did the really like austerity and tapasya, everything, and then actually so that is the way. But as the Nectar of Instruction says, that beginning it's very hard because of our inertia. Like in physics, we have, the example is that so according to Newton, that is first law, I think, of Newton, which says that a body continues to be in a state of rest or of uniform motion unless it is acted upon by an external force. So the idea is that the body, some object will stay like that for ever until some external force actually pushes it, changes it, or object will continue to move at a uniform speed until some force pushes it. Either it accelerates or becomes slower and stops. So in the same way, the mind, the material mind is, and the body has inertia because of being. It wants to just go on with what it is used to or accustomed. It doesn't want to change anything. You want to build a new style of speaking, or you want to change your habits like waking up early, or anything. The change is hard. So many people, like motivational speakers, they advise people to change their ways. You should do like this to change, to implement change. You do like this to implement change. But for material objectives, it's not. I mean, it's good for doing your everyday things, but for spiritual purposes, if you use it, then it is actually worth it. then so as the verse, as Prabhupada says that our aim ultimately is, of course, to end this cycle of birth and death, and go back to the Lord, to return to the Lord. So as Bhagavad Gita, Prabhupada says, right, whatever state of being one remembers when he quits, when he dies, that state he will attain without fail. So it has to be done now, the training, as you know, because the time of death is very, very painful, very, very hard to remember any spiritual thing. So it is mentioned that whatever one is used to the most, the mind will go there. You're not used to think of Krishna and his name and his pastime, then it won't have any chance to go there. Sometimes Krishna and Prabhupada are very merciful also, that in the in the sense that sometimes some devotees do a lot of devotional service in their lives when they are young, and and afterwards also, but due to some reasons at the point of death they might not be able to remember the Lord, some due to some reason, some problem. But Krishna is so kind that he will actually take them back, especially Prabhupada especially. He has there have been, I've read or heard like stories of how the devotees who have done devotional service for for long time, they served Prabhupada, and then for some reason they fell down, they didn't do devotional service, but suddenly just before dying, or just before few years or few months, few days before that, they become suddenly, get back everything, their consciousness and everything. So that further shows that devotional service is never lost. Devotional service is never lost. Whatever one can do in devotional service, it will always actually stay. Everything else will be lost. House, bank balance, our relatives, family, everything will lose. Because devotional service is not from the material world, that's why it's not lost. Devotional service is not from the material world. Krishna's name is not from the material world, so it won't be lost. Then also, as verse Rupa Goswami also says in the verse, that one should try to reside in Vrindavan Dham and serve the Lord under the guidance or instructions of the devotees of the Lord or his associates. And that's what. So that's not easy. It's very advanced stage actually. When one makes Vrindavan his residence, he should take shelter of an advanced devotee there. In this way, one should always think of Krishna and his pastimes. So why it is mentioned that one should serve under the footsteps or guidance of associates of Lord? Because Rupa Goswami says in Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu that by following the footsteps of such associates and by entering under the eternal guidance, one can acquire intense a desire to serve the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So by following their instructions and guidance, if you take, one gets the intense desire or interest to serve the Lord, serve Krishna. This method applies to both purposes, in the sadhana stage, conditions, and in the liberated stage also. Liberated stage also, devotees serve under the guidance of associate. There is a hierarchy, right? There are also gopis and manjaris. So hierarchies are always there. This method is applicable both in the stage of sadhana, spiritual practices executed while in the stage of bondage, and in the stage of sadhya, God realization. When one is a siddha purusha, it applies to both stages. So you can see that devotional service is always, the Guru is, that is why the Guru is always there. Not that even in the siddha purusha also the Guru is always there. Our Guru is eternal. Not that like a Mayavadis say, the Guru is gone and you merge into Brahman and you become Brahman. For them, everybody is gone. Guru is gone, Brahman is also gone, I am become Brahman. Just humbug. Okay, any questions or comments? Okay, thank you so much. Hare Krishna.